mystery. You're thinking to yourselves now, just wait a minute, we're only Presbyterians. We have not come to church for adventure and risk and mystery. We have come to church for security and for stable things and for surety and for familiar things. Mark, please don't make this into an adventure. We just can't take it. But wait a minute. If you're going to be a Christian, if you're going to be a person living within the kingdom of God, you have to get used to adventure and risk and mystery, because that's what it's all about. If you look at those people upon whom we base our sense of calling into God's work, they were all called out of what was familiar and common and mundane and known to them into something about which they knew absolutely nothing. And God is calling you today out from everything that is familiar to you and saying, come with me on an adventure filled with mystery, and risk everything for the sake of my promise. Look at Abraham. Abraham had a settled life. Abraham had everything around him that was common and familiar and gave him a sense of security back in Iraq where he was born. And one day some God comes to him and he doesn't even know the name of that God, has no idea who that God is. And that God says to him, Abram, you are going to leave your family, your friends, your home, your culture, your language, everything that is familiar to you, and I invite you to start walking through the desert to something that is absolutely unknown and mysterious. What a strange thing for that strange God to do to that man whom he appears to have picked at random. And then he makes promises to that man, saying, I'm going to make you a great person. I'm going to make your life supremely significant. Abraham believed. Against all odds, Abraham had faith in that God, and he said, all right, off we go, leaving the familiar behind, heading out to a great unknown mystery. As if that wasn't bad enough, that when God called Abram, he was 75 years old. He did not even begin to fulfill the promise until Abram was 100 years old. This God had promised him, I'm going to make you the father of many nations. I will give you many descendants like the number of the stars. And Abram said, well, that's not true. I don't have any children. And that God said, have faith. And finally, after 25 years of having faith, God gave Abram a son, Isaac, and then no sooner had Isaac grown a little bit than that strange God said to him, now I want you to take that son up onto Mount Moriah, and I want you to build an altar, and I want you to sacrifice him to me. Everything that Abram had been waiting for 25 years. The only possible vehicle through which the promises could be fulfilled, God now says, sacrifice that to me. And Abraham believed. And he had faith in that God. And he went up the mountain and built the altar with every intention of sacrificing that son, saying, Lord, even though it looks to me that this son is the only way you can fulfill your promise, if you say you are going to fulfill the promise some other way,